So, thematic analysis is the process of reviewing qualitative data for patterns and then identifying common ideas or themes. And so the two approaches that we wanted to highlight, and sometimes a combination is used, are a deductive approach or an inductive approach. In a deductive approach, you might come to your data knowing what you're looking for. Maybe you know you're going to be looking for any comments related to high school leaders. You know you're going to be looking for comments about the connection with nature. And so you come in with a list of predetermined themes. And as you do your thematic analysis, you're looking for those predetermined themes. Alternatively, an inductive or emergent approach means coming to the qualitative data, whether it's survey responses to open-ended items, or whether it's observation notes, photos, coming to those data and looking for, letting themes emerge from the data. Instead of imposing a set of themes on top. And of course, there's opportunities to come with some predetermined themes, but being open to others emerging as well. And so I would say in Jennifer's example, Jennifer, it sounds like you used primarily an emergent approach. You read through, and as you read, you identified themes that were coming up. I want to offer one more example of how theming could be used in a very different scenario, but related to outdoor school. And this approach begins with verbal data, where staff meet to debrief at the end of the day, discuss what went well, what didn't. And the idea here is that that in and of itself is a valuable process. This theming example would go a step further and have someone taking notes in real time during that debrief, putting one idea per sticky note and accumulating those notes over the course of the week. At the end of the week, theming could take place by placing those sticky notes on a wall and working together as a group to look for commonalities and theme the sticky notes, then allowing the group to look at what has emerged and really discuss what you notice and what might have implications for planning for the next week. And so we wanted to give this as one additional example of theming. There are many, but one that could be integrated without needing the use of spreadsheets, and could then inform planning in sort of a weekly and ongoing way. From that example, this is a visual of what might happen on the wall, that over the course of the week, the blue sticky notes were reflecting what was shared during verbal debriefs by staff. And in the theming process, as a group, you might discuss and group sticky notes and determine timing challenges as a theme. So it's really the approach of taking a lot of data on different topics and organizing it in order to make sense of it. I want to pause here and ask for any comments, questions, thoughts, or examples from your own work where theming has been used. Just want to give a moment in case anyone else wants to offer. Yeah, how appropriate that my example says timing challenges. Yeah, I mean, one thing I want to say that I heard someone else share recently at a conference, to maybe just bring an intimidation factor down around evaluation, is that evaluation can be as simple as getting together as a group and discussing the week. And maybe that's the right size for your place and reality and time and schedule. And evaluation can be as time consuming as doing very thorough theming of transcripts and having multiple people do it and compare their notes. So there's different sizes, and they're all good. So I just want to emphasize that we're providing some examples here, and the right size for your, like, right sizing the evaluation for your setting is important.
And Deborah, there is a question in the chat.
How have you resolved differences of opinions and themes, i.e., what mile markers do you see when a group is developing a common language for this process? That's a great question. Stephen, you just answered it in the chat. Do you want to just take it out loud?
Yeah, I love that question. And I just could only look at it through my process, is that we have to work towards consensus with the folks that are understanding those themes. There, of course, then requires critical reflection, deep curiosity from everyone, and mediating power in those moments. I think there's a potential for trouble if those themes are understood by a group of people to then transfer them out for other people to know them, because they might understand those data differently. And so that has to really be handled with sensitivity. Mile markers, that's a great question. I think it's just those aha moments, right? When folks are talking about stuff. So
Yeah, and I want to tie this back to, for those of you who are with us in season 1, at the very beginning, we talked about identity and the role of the person who is making these analysis decisions, or the group of people making the analysis decisions, that there is never or very rarely a right answer. What is determined to be right is a group process that happens with the folks in the room, and it's always going to be affected by the perspectives of those in the room. So I hope that helps, and it can be messy sometimes when people have different views.